more on YouTube, and welcome to Lübeck, a city of just over 200,000 people, second largest in the state of Schleswig-Holstein. For centuries, however, it's been one of Northern Europe's absolute powerhouses, and you still see a lot of that in the town itself. Let's go have a walk. So that right there, the Holstentor, part of the medieval city wall, Lübeck's main landmark, and also the Deutscher Städtetag, the Association of German Cities, uses this as their logo. Lübeck is also known as Seven Towers City because of 5 prominent churches they have that add up to 7 towers, and we will see if we can climb one of them, like this one. Nope, wrong church. Petrikirche, St. Peter's Church. Okay, let's go up. Now I am in the right one and I am going up by elevator. I think we've seen all of the towers now. Also this church, as well as all the other churches here, as well as almost any other building in Lübeck, as well as most of northern Germany, is really made from red brick, which is basically baked clay. You know, the area wasn't exactly rich in natural stone resources, but it was rich in clay. And Germans eventually figured out how to turn that clay into stones, bricks you can actually build with. It's, by the way, a technique that came from, or that was originally invented in Mesopotamia, so modern day Iraq, pretty much. I'm not sure if that technique got imported here or if Mesopotamians invented it first and then eventually Germans figured it out as well. So if you know more about that, let me know in the comments. Many of these streets are so narrow, they kind of remind me of Portugal and how I squeezed the mini SUV through them. I mean, they were constructed centuries before cars and they are surely wide enough for horses. Also, the old town of Lübeck sits on an island in the river Trave, so as long as you're in the old town, it's never far to the water. I have a thing for bridges. Whenever I see one, I gotta cross over. I have no idea what's there, I'm just curious. Okay, it's one of these backyards. So, centuries ago, when Lübeck's population was expanding quickly, the city needed new space to build houses, especially lower class housing. These days, these backyards are very popular and highly sought after. I have no idea where I'm going, I'm just following random streets. So maybe you saw my video about Husum, where I mentioned how closely the town is associated with the German poet Theodor Storm. So same goes for Lübeck. And Thomas and Heinrich Mann, two playwrights who lived here in the late 19th or early 20th century. I will look it up. And the family lived right in this house behind me. Okay, Christmas is just over. I'm filming this on the 27th of December. But the Christmas activities are not in Lübeck. All these old gabled houses are just incredible. If it wasn't for the cars, you would wonder which century you're in. When you walk through Lübeck's old town, it's impossible not to feel it. This place remembers things. The brick facades, the narrow streets, the massive churches. This isn't a museum set, this is a city that used to run Northern Europe. Lübeck, as we know it today, was founded in 1143 by Count Adolf II of Holstein, right here on this little hill between the Trave and Wakenitz rivers. And here's a detail that always blows my mind. Only about 30 years later, they were already building a cathedral. That's how confident these people were. There wasn't any, let's see if this works out. They went straight to, yeah, we're gonna need a cathedral. You can still see the early ambition everywhere. This city didn't just grow, it prospered fast. Merchants flooded in, trade routes expanded, and Lübeck quickly became the most important harbor on the Baltic coast. And then came the Hanseatic League. Lübeck didn't just join the Hanse, it basically became its brain and nervous system. From the 1200s on, this was the place where strategies were made and power was negotiated. At its peak, Lübeck was one of the most important trading cities in all of Europe. They didn't call it the Queen of the Hanse for nothing. Two products built much of that wealth: salt and herring. Salt came mainly from Lüneburg and passed through Lübeck on its way east. Herring came from the Baltic Sea in absurd quantities. Now add medieval Christianity's fish rules. No meat on Fridays, no meat during Lent, and suddenly herring becomes the Bitcoin of the Middle Ages. Lübeck sat perfectly in the middle of all that. Salt preserved the herring fed half of Europe, and Lübeck collected the profits. By the 1300s, Lübeck was huge, wealthy, politically powerful, bigger than most cities in the Holy Roman Empire. You can still read that former glory in the architecture. The massive brick churches, the merchant houses, the warehouses, the gates. This city was built by people who knew exactly how important they were. Eventually, of course, things shifted. New trade routes, stronger nation states, Dutch merchants bypassing Lübeck, and the Hanse slowly faded. But the city never collapsed. It adapted, survived wars, occupations, empires, and revolutions, and somehow kept its medieval heart completely intact. So when you walk these streets today, you're not just sightseeing. You're walking through a city that once helped shape Europe's economy, politics, and daily life. Not bad for a place that decided to build a cathedral 30 years after it was born. It's getting dark and the GoPro is notoriously bad at handling low light situations, so I'm heading back to the still open Christmas market and see if I can grab a bite there. That was my first, admittedly short, YouTube visit to Lübeck, which barely scratched the surface of this highly interesting city, so I'll definitely be back in a couple of months, maybe in spring or early summer, something like that. And I hope I see you around that time again as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a great Christmas and a great New Year, and I hope I see you soon. Bye bye.